They handed my twin a rabbit that twitched against his chest. They handed me the same rabbit, its neck slack, its eyes clouded. That's when I knew. The doctors weren't comparing us. They were carving us in two. They called it the Institute for Developmental Symmetry. Sounds like a ballet academy, doesn't it? In reality, it was a butcher shop for the human soul, and my brother and I were the meat. Soviet Russia, 1942. The war was eating men faster than the snow was eating cities. Some genius in a gray suit decided the future of the motherland rested on perfect twins. So they came for us. Black Volga cars, doors swinging open like jaws. They didn't want just any children. They wanted pairs, matching teeth, matching eyes, matching everything. We were 8 years old when they locked us in their mirrored rooms. At first, there were differences. My room had a window, his didn't. My bread was stale, his was fresh. To the doctors, these were variables. To us, it was a riddle we couldn't solve. Each morning, the man with the clipboard would ask, "What did you dream about?" If my answer matched my brother's, red check. If it didn't, blue check. And no sugar in my tea. It didn't take long to figure out what they were doing, seeing how much our lives could differ before our minds stopped being the same. Then came the puzzles. I'd get the full set of pieces, my brother got ones that didn't fit. He'd get lunch, I'd get a photograph of lunch. And when our answers drifted too far apart, they'd swap us. No warning, just trade us like cards, drop us in the other's life and wait for the cracks to spread. One day they stopped letting us see each other at all. But they still wanted us to mirror. They'd whisper to him through the wall, strange phrases, commands, and see if I'd repeat them without knowing why. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. When I failed, they'd take something away, a blanket, a chair, my name. And then came the rabbits. They placed us in adjoining rooms with a glass wall between us. My twin was given a living, breathing, soft-furred rabbit. I was given the same rabbit, lifeless, its head lolling, still warm in my arms. The doctors told us to feed them. I had to press carrots against stiff lips that would never chew. And when I cried, they scribbled furiously on their clipboards. Then, after an hour, they swapped them. They handed me the living rabbit, still damp with my brother's touch. And to him, they handed the dead one, fur matted, now crusted with my tears. I will never forget his scream, and I will never forget that the look in his eyes said I had done it. Weeks turned into months. One morning, I woke up certain I was in his bed, wearing his clothes, smelling his pillow. At first, I thought I was imagining it, until I noticed the room was wrong. The window was gone. The floorboards had been replaced. Even the tiny scratch on the wall by the desk had vanished. They had erased every difference between our rooms. Now there was no way to tell whose life I was living, unless I could feel it in my bones. That night the lights snapped off without warning. I thought it was just another deprivation test, until I heard boots in the hall. The door opened. Hands grabbed me. No words, no explanation. When the sack came off my head, I wasn't in my room anymore. I was seated at a long table, a single candle burning between me and my brother. It was the first time we'd been face to face in months. The doctors stood behind him, hidden in the shadows, their clipboards glowing in the candlelight. I smiled at him. He smiled back, but it was a stranger's smile wearing my brother's face. The next morning, the man with the clipboard said, calmly, "Good morning, Mikhail." That wasn't my name, that was my brother's name. I corrected him. He just smiled and made a red check mark. And then they took my bed away. From that day forward, they never used my real name again. They renamed me Mikhail. Not a mistake, a decision. And every time I answered, I could feel my brother's grin in my head, like he'd won and I'd been erased. One morning, they told me he had died. Pneumonia, they said. I believed them. For 3 days, I cried into my blanket until it stiffened with salt. I whispered his name through the wall, knowing no voice would answer. The doctors only watched, taking notes like my grief was a number to record. By the third night, I was emptied out. I thought maybe this was the experiment, to see if a boy could survive without his other half. On the fourth day, the door opened, and there he was, surprised, alive, healthy, smiling as if death had been nothing more than a rehearsal. My knees buckled, my stomach turned. The man with the clipboard asked, "Do you recognize him?" Every part of me screamed no, but my mouth said yes. He marked his page with a red check, and that night, I lay on the floor because the bed felt like a lie. I walked out of the institute at 15. At least, that's what they told me. But when I look in the mirror, I see his smile staring back. So tell me, which one of us really left? Last year, I saw him in the market. He was pushing a stroller. Inside were 2 children, both with my face. That was just the twins. Imagine what they did to the triplets.